Studio 666 is a comedy horror film created by Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters and starring the band members as themselves. The story centers around Dave Grohl having writer's block and being unable to come up with any tunes for their 10th album. Now, the head of the record label is unhappy as he has debts he must pay and he needs that new album delivered, so he sets them up in a house that was previously occupied by a band called Dream Widow back in the 90s. The lead singer of that band went crazy and murdered his bandmates while trying to compose the perfect evil song. Will this same fate befall the Foo Fighters? Now, I consider myself a fan of the Foo Fighters. I've got many of their songs in my Spotify playlist, and they've always had some horror bona fides with me ever since I saw that Evil Dead-inspired Everlong video back in the 90s. And the Evil Dead vibes are very strong in this film as well, even including their own Necronomicon. So I sort of went into this not expecting much, and that's exactly what I got. This movie is not good, folks. Now, ostensibly, this is supposed to be like a gory comedy that allows fans to sort of see their rock icons get brutally picked off in creative ways. In reality, it's actually just a pretty boring slog for the most part. The main problem, straight away, is that none of the band can act. Dave Grohl's easily the best of the bunch, but he gets by mostly on charm and charisma rather than any sort of acting talent. It's what makes him such a great frontman. But the rest of the band, pretty cringy. I don't know who that, I don't remember the name of the keyboard player, but every time he was on screen, it was rough. Though I will say, it is impossible to hate Pat Smear. Pat Smear, he can't act his way out of a paper bag, but every time he's on screen in this movie, he's great. And does he ever not have a smile on his face? Pat Smear, much love to you. Now, Whitney Cummings, she shows up in this as a snoopy neighbor, sort of there to bring a bit of crass comedy to the proceedings. She's good in it. She's not in this movie nearly enough. There's way too much Dave Grohl and not enough other characters bringing sort of like the comedy that really needed to come through in something like this. And that's the other thing. This movie goes on and on and on. It's one of those movies that has 1,000 endings, and just when you think it's finally going to be over, it isn't. There are a couple funny gags in the movie, and I will say that the death scenes are done really well. There's a very impressive double chainsaw kill during the sex scene. And as a drummer myself, I appreciated the cymbal death. Though I did see this after, sort of like the untimely passing of Taylor Hawkins, so it did feel a bit odd to see Dave Grohl murdering him in the context of, what has happened recently in real life. And I will also note that John Carpenter does appear in this movie, and I greatly appreciate that because I love John Carpenter. And he also did the opening theme for this movie over the opening credits, so that was rad. But ultimately, guys, this one's not good. I appreciate that the Foo Fighters did this, and hell, if I was in a legendary rock band of their status and I got the opportunity to star with my buddies in a decently budgeted horror flick, I'd do it too. But I would only recommend this to die-hard fans of the band. Go listen to The Color and the Shape again. It's a better use of your time. I'm going to give this one a D+. Still a badass rock band.